and Candace not had that altercation, there would be no drag queen song. So we gotta call a thing here, sis. You wrote that song in poor taste and you chose to put it out, and all of that's in poor taste. I'm not in support of that. There should be no sensationalism surrounding this situation with her and Candace, especially if nothing else because they were friends to begin with. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel, Being Simone Iman. This is Simone Iman, and over here at my channel I do a little bit of everything, whatever I'm feeling at the moment. Sometimes it's television show reviews, recaps, suggestions for things to watch, product hauls, clothing hauls. It's my personal diary. So if those are things you're interested in, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you know anytime I upload a video. And today we're going to be talking about Real Housewives of Potomac Part 3 reunion. I'm ready for this to be over, y'all. This has been the most draining coverage. Look, granted, I've only covered one of the series, which is Insecure. If you're into Insecure, go check out those videos. But anyway, I'm just glad it's over, you guys, honestly. And this whole 90-minute episode really could have been chopped down into an hour. Just keeping it real. Also, you will see this top again. This is my new favorite top. She is a banger. Shein extraordinaire. I might do a Shein haul too, because I did a couple orders over the holidays. Anyway, let's get into it. So the part 3 of the reunion opens up with Monique very unemotional while Candace is overtly emotional, and they're questioning why there is a lack of emotion from Monique in the situation. And she's like, basically, I've dealt with all of this already. Y'all just didn't see it because I couldn't film, or whatever she did film is on the editing room floor. The emotions that Candace is showing, I get it, okay? Once she started talking about it too, it made more sense. Now granted, it's been over a year, so I don't know if I would be as emotional as Candace is about the situation. But she started talking about stuff like the song, and you know, the way Monique conveyed what happened to them to the bloggers. And I got where she was coming from, how that was a bit much. So it was beyond just the physicality of them fighting. It was all the things that were done afterwards. You know, Monique was tweeting about it. Monique was laughing about it. She just didn't seem remorseful. Honestly, I'm with Candace on that. The classic thing to do was just let that shit die and not talk about it no more. I don't know, there's something weird about Andy's vibe when it comes to what's going on between Candace and Monique, and even his vibe just specifically towards Monique. The thing for me is there's a lack of accountability as a cast for inciting these situations amongst one another. You know, there's, you know, the old salacious rumors about Michael in the hotel rooms. But then there's the, oh, how y'all doing? Y'all good? Y'all good? What's going on with y'all? And constantly taking things back and forth amongst one another behind each other's backs. Oh, well, you know, Candace went out of her way to befriend Sharice. Oh, well, this is like, y'all, Ashley included, Giselle, Robin, they all incited this confrontation, and there's lack of accountability. And like Karen said, y'all all been tearing each other down. So we can't sit back and be so, you know, surprised that somebody got into a physical altercation. I think that it was a bit much for Candace to storm off the set and cry the way that she did. I mean, I'm with Chris Bissett. Like, how long are you going to let this woman control your emotions like this? How much of a trigger is she for you emotionally where you can let her totally take you off your track? And you're at work, like, granted, if you at your house and you thinking about this and you have a moment, that's one thing. If you're talking to your husband and your homegirls, you have a moment, that's one thing. You're paid to be on, you know? This is a set, and you running off set talking about you can't. What you can't? Why you didn't prepare yourself for this in advance? And she literally said she was waiting for this, so it's here. Put your big girl panties on. Anyway, Monique says that the altercation took her back to childhood because Candace was like having her hands in her face. And I get that. It was a trigger for her. Nobody can tell Monique what her trigger was. It's not for anyone to accept or deny. If that's her truth, that is her truth. Andy asked Candace why it took her so long when she returns to press charges, and she goes on to say that was because of the blogs, because of the song, because of all of that. She felt like she had to be able to fight back in some way. So if that's what she felt like she had to do, then that's what you got to do. Andy asked the rest of the women how many of them felt like it was, you know, necessary to go legal, and the only person that said it was hating ass Giselle. And she was like, oh, I wanted her to wear an ankle monitor or do community service. You just don't like this woman. Commit to that, but don't commit to the rest of this bullshit. Candace says that Monique leaked the story to the blogs, and I told you guys before, I wholeheartedly believe that. And even if she didn't call the blogs and say this is what happened or send emails, she had people on her side. Her brother runs her fan page who can do her dirty work for her. And I think that Monique is one of these women who cares about her image, specifically in Potomac, specifically in the realm of, you know, retired football wives, Redskins wives, and that just did not paint a good picture of her image, and she was trying to do damage control at the end of the day, is what I believe. Now, does that mean I'm no longer Team Monique? Hell no. But I know how to call a thing, and I'm not biased. They asked her, Monique, why she wasn't upset with Karen for suggesting to Candace to press charges. And she said she was, but she was an adult about it. We can agree to disagree and move on. It is what it is. Honestly, at the end of the day, she had already been iced out by everybody else. It wasn't in Monique's best interest to create more enemies on this platform. So some shit she just has to take with a grain of salt. Andy asked Monique why she countersued, and Candace is such a juvenile. She's so smart. She's a librarian. She can read. But she's calling Monique's attorney a quack. How is he a quack, or she, whoever they are, if they got the case dismissed and thrown out? He had specific methodology that he used to make sure that his client walked away from that scot-free. Is that a quack? No, he worth his weight, okay? Whatever his pay is, he worth that. Ashley writing a statement, and you know, they're like, you know, why did you do that, as if there's any explanation to be had. She and Candace are not friends. They might have had a couple good moments on this show, but they've had more horrible moments than good. And at the end of the day, her and Monique got something going on between them. Whether it's an alliance, whether it's a true friendship, they sticking to it. Don't nobody say no when Robin and Giselle don't hold each other accountable, or riding or dying up and down Potomac highways in Maryland. Nobody has anything to say to them for how ugly and unaccountable they are for their actions. So if Monique actually got an alliance, what's it to you? Why does it matter? Candace says that, Andy asks, but Candace says that the Samuels are talking cash money shit about the Darbys while you over there riding for her. And again, who gives a damn? And we have to remember that Ashley was Ashleying and said that woman was drunk driving, and she was like on the onset of her pregnancy that she ultimately lost. So yeah, I'm talking a lot of shit about them. And we all know Michael is talk shit about worthy, okay? Monique shares that her issues with her dad and how her dad used to poke her in the head is also a trigger, and that's what made her snap out on Candace. And Candace says she can respect that. I think, is this the moment where, yes, Monique apologizes, looks her in the eye and apologizes to her, and Candace is accepting about the apology for the physical fight, but she says it was hard for her to accept is all the things after the song. And then she read the lyrics of the song. Monique, even if you aren't specifically talking about her, you're talking about your life, or however you want to frame this. Had you and Candace not had that altercation, there would be no drag queen song. So we gotta call a thing here, sis. You wrote that song in poor taste, and you chose to put it out, and all of that's in poor taste. I'm not in support of that. There should be no sensationalism surrounding this situation with her and Candace, especially if nothing else because they were friends to begin with. Someone asked Candace about her provocative words and how she, you know, if she can accept the fact that the way that she talks to people can incite those kind of reactions. And she says yes, but she says what they were going through wasn't deep enough for that she had walked away from her 4 times before this season when Monique wanted to fight with Candace. And I can't lie, I cannot say that that is not true. Candace walked away, Candace apologized time and time again, but it was just something in that moment. I personally think a lot of it was the alcohol, because alcohol is just not a good ingredient for those kind of moments, you know. It has no place there. That's why it wasn't wise for Giselle and Robin to be like, y'all good? Y'all good? Once they start going back and forth and bickering and arguing like that, somebody should have pulled somebody away and said, okay, that's enough, y'all. Cut. We got the scene. But they was entertained by that, and they were steadily entertained. They sat back after the fight and judged and cackled like 2 hens. They had a big responsibility in the altercation, and whoever don't like it just don't like it. As a grown woman, if I'm in a group like that where we all have mutual interests, i.e. a huge platform that pays us hundreds of thousands of dollars, I don't care what we talking about. If this is going to cause an issue for us as a group, or if I'm concerned about our public perception, I'm pulling you away. I'm not going to allow y'all to engage each other like this. Maybe I'm too mature. Maybe I'm too much of an adult. But that shit wouldn't entertain me. It wouldn't have. And then Andy brings up the issues with Karen and Candace, and he asks the women who thinks that Karen was more on Monique's side than Candace, and surprisingly, only Candace and Ashley raised their hands. I was surprised that Ashley felt that way as well. I honestly, and I've said this in other videos, Karen absolutely held Monique accountable, but she wasn't willing to throw away her friend. Point blank period, the end. That's on Mary Had a Little Lamb. What don't y'all understand? She told her she was wrong. She also repeated that in front of everyone and Monique. She flicked her hair. I told her you never do that. That is wrong. I don't know what else Candace wanted from Karen. Monique says Karen absolutely held her accountable, and then Karen shares why she's disappointed in Karen. And Candace says why she's disappointed in Karen. I hope I said that right. And she says it's because when they were at Cameron's sipping seed, they asked her, she saw Robin said, do you see anyone else in a different light? And she said yes, and come to find out she was talking to about Candace. I think that's a huge assumption. Unless Karen specifically came out and said that, it was a reach. How do you know she was talking about you? Karen says that she withheld information from the women. She did not lie when they asked her about Monique's invite to the wig shift party in Portugal. And Monique was not invited to the party. She was invited to help set up so she can film a scene. If that makes them upset, if she lied, then it is what it is. Here's the thing about lying. There are blatant lies, and there are lies that help ease a situation over. Karen is guilty of doing both. But in that situation, I think she just wanted to ease it over. She didn't want any more friction, any more tension, and I'm with her. I'm tired of these hoes fighting over this. Honestly, it's draining, and it has overruled and overshadowed their season. I honestly feel like if all of those women had got those women together before any tweets were had, any blogs were reached out to, before any songs were made, before any lives were done on Instagram, they could have recovered from this much better than they did. But because there was so much back and forth, and also because COVID stretched out their season so long, they never had the opportunity to pull it back together. It was all too separate by the time it was time to pull it back together. It was like, we can't pull all these ends back together. They're too far gone. The situation with Karen calling Bravo on Candace, absolutely, I agree with it. What's the problem here? Candace feels like she can attack people with her words and then dictate how they're to react because they're her friends. I'm sorry, Candace. Here's the thing about being a friend. When you're a friend to someone, you don't knowingly, willingly go after them in that kind of way. Especially an elder like Karen. Karen is old enough to be her mother. So why she would be texting Karen and telling Karen to burn in hell is beyond me. I'm absolutely calling the boss. I'm absolutely concerned. Karen already said she can't fight. She don't want no more fighting on this franchise. And she's concerned that the next time I have to be in a group setting with you, you're going to be hollering and screaming at me in my face like you were at Robin's engagement party. So there's a total lack of accountability from a lot of these women, Candace specifically. You can't be mad that this woman called Bravo on you and you sending her nasty text messages. So she not supposed to do that to you because she your friend, but you don't have to be friend enough of her to not attack her via text. Make it make sense, Candace. When they were going back and forth, y'all, Candace was giving Karen high blood pressure. Like, Karen was like screaming. Like, that's when you in a heated discussion with your mama, not as a child, as an adult though. And your mama can't whip you and put her hands on you. So y'all just like going back and forth. Holla if you hear me. Okay, where's my amen corner? Amen. That's what she was giving Karen. She was stressing Karen the fuck out. But I was with Andy when he was like, you know, you could tell they care about each other. You could tell they love each other. And hopefully this is not too far gone where they can't reel it back in. But I don't think it is. And then, anyway, there's a lot of B-roll footage and the husbands are coming out and Chris is with Candace, Chris Bassett, and I don't know, it's just something about how Candace is so receiving of the support from Giselle and Robin, specifically Giselle. Like, Candace is giving me what Monique was giving. Like, you think she your friend? She's not your friend, sis. She's your friend because y'all have a common enemy. Is that a friend? Hell no. Like, that whole banter when Chris Bassett came out and then it's hee ha ha. Like, this lady literally told you, what, episode 3 or 4, she was gonna keep it surface with you and y'all never be friends. It's the two-facedness for me. And then the husbands come out and they all look really nice. Robin said Juan isn't there because he has the basketball practice. Y'all, we talking about practice. He had practice, a COVID practice though. That's why he didn't show up. I don't believe it. What Giselle said, the pastor had lectures, Michael Darby was at a wedding, and those are the husbands that weren't there, but Ray looked really nice, Chris Samuels looked really nice, Chris Bassett, of course, Eddie be killing the game. Andy is trying to make small talk, y'all. I hate small talk, so I'm with Chris Samuels, and they're talking about the Michael Jordan special that came on ESPN, and Robin's like, Juan played with him one season, okay, and Andy asked Chris if he saw it, and he was like, no, I was busy watching nasty dirty lies being told about my wife. Chris Samuels was on one. And see, this is my thing, because I'm in a couple of groups on Facebook, and there's this whole idea, like, either people are like, yes, he should have defended his wife, or people are like, men shouldn't argue with women. At the end of the day, we all human beings, and I don't feel like a man can't speak to a woman about intense situations. As long as he not calling them bitches and hoes and all of that, like, if we can have a dialogue, and I don't think there's anything wrong with Chris Samuels having a dialogue with Giselle or Robin about what was going on. Now, when it comes to this whole plot thing, what I did not like about this situation on the reunion is that they gaslighted Monique about this plot as if she was pulling it out of her ass. Candace had an hour-long live on Instagram discussing this plot. She used the word plot. She gave details about the plot as if it was first-hand knowledge, because she did confirm she was there for the discussion of the plot, and there was no acknowledgement of that. That's concerning for me. That's gaslighting for me. I didn't appreciate it. I didn't like how they skewed that as if the Samuels had made that up or they were mad about nothing. Now, let's get into it. Andy asked Eddie about his issues with his parents, and he's basically like, it's been 10 years, we tried, nothing's come of it. I'm surprised they so freely talk about it. So like, if you talk about your family not stepping up, being a part of your life, disowning you for literally nothing, how do you expect them to come full circle if you're airing that out on national television? Like, what you think they're gonna do now? They really not gonna mess with you now, right? Or is it just me? Okay, but yeah, that's my thing. Like, you thought they ain't messed with you before, but now you done called them out on national television. Oh, y'all really out of there. Andy asked Ray if he regrets the things he said, and he said when he said them, it wasn't about not loving his wife. He's just not in the same love he was 25 years ago, and I get that. Andy asked him about that money situation. He said he laughed. Lady, I've been taking care of your ass for 22 years. You up 3 years and now I owe you all of a sudden. Girl, if you don't get sit your ass down. Ray's just really a great time. I really like him. Andy asked Chris Bassett, how does it feel to now be outside of Dorothy's home? The shade. Their trash sex life. The shade. And then they acknowledged the fact that Giselle has a security guard because of things that Chris Samuel said on IG Live. Everybody needs to stay off IG Live, okay? Everybody. Chris acknowledges that what he said was inappropriate. He said he wished he could be Bruce Jenner so he could slap the shit out of him. He was thumped their ass too. And it was inappropriate. He was angry, but he acknowledged it. He apologized for it, and he was willing to move forward. Now, see, this is where it kind of got me in a bunch. I didn't like Giselle's energy for him. I really didn't. And I get it. He said what he said. But it was something about her being like, throwing the F word and get the fuck out of here and don't fucking talk to me. Her energy was a bit much. It was, for to be such a queen bee, to be so unbothered, to be so booked and chat room busy. Like, I did not appreciate the energy that she was giving Chris Samuels, because I didn't feel like Chris Samuels was giving them that energy. Granted, he had big energy, but he wasn't like attacking them the way I felt Giselle was attacking him. I could be wrong, I could be biased, but that's just not, I wasn't feeling that. Like, he wasn't cussing them. Giselle started shooting off the cuss words. She under her breath, why the fuck is he here with his big ass? Like, it was a lot on Giselle's side. Chris Samuels asked Candace why she didn't bring the information about the plot to Monique, and Chris and Candace was like, there's no plot, but you said it on your live. Those things just didn't add up to me. I ain't like it. They all start talking over each other, and that's when Chris Samuel stands up and Giselle calls on her security, who did not move because he's on COVID restriction. Let's just be real. And it was just very Karen-ish. Not, and I do not mean Hugo. Karen, no Hugo, like Becky Karen. Like, wait, cause he stood up, and y'all know Jamal Bryant did his live, and he was like, Chris charged at Robin and Giselle. Absolutely not. So you a liar and you a philanderer, Jamal Bryant. you steps out on your marriage and you lies. Chris and Chris say you acknowledge that they agreed that they wouldn't go head to head with each other. Chris asked Giselle if she had ever brought up their baby, and that's when she replied with the "don't effing talk to me," which was a bit much. And then Bravo shows footage that we have never seen when they was at High Fashion Home No Fashions, and her and Robin were talking, and I did not put two and two together that Chris had asked her, who does the baby look like, and he was being shady. Full circle moment for the audience. I know it was, but she was like, I was thinking that was just a part of their personal story, which is like a production term. Like, what are you talking about this season? And it's like, really, you think that's what they're gonna come on here and talk about? Their baby's paternity? She just, the unawareness and how Giselle try to act like she does nothing wrong is just like baffling to me. Andy asks Robin if she and Juan are getting married, and then they go into Robin's spiel. She says she's building a house. She wants to have a small destination wedding. They talk about the satin lined hats that are atrocious, her tax issues. She say they paid, child. Robin asks Juan what Michael was talking about as far as him going to Vegas. Everything that he asked her what Juan was talking about, I don't know. I asked Juan and he said he don't know. Of course he did. And then Andy asks Chris Samuels about Juan and Robin, and he's like, I'm still disgusted about everything that happens. No disrespect to y'all, but I'm still disgusted about everything that happened with my wife. And Robin got so loud with him. I am so glad Juan Dixon is not here right now. Why? What did Chris say to her that warranted that reaction? Honestly, you could tell that her and Giselle are on the same page about this big energy for Chris Samuels because of his live, I'm guessing. Girl, the overreaction. Like, chill out, little Karen. No, Huger. Juan and Michael. I did not like how Robin laughed that off. That's of concern, sis. Then I like what Andy talked about with Karen in regard to Robin. Karen told Robin, can you please stop talking about my husband disrespectfully? And I want to talk about you and Juan. Andy asked Karen what she was talking about when they said you need to be worried about what Juan said when he was drunk. Juan said something in front of them husbands that they do not. Them husbands have a pact. Because them husbands is a strong knit group of husbands. They're very tight knit, closed lips. Juan said something to them husbands that they will not repeat. And Karen said, we have done enough tearing each other down today, and I'm not going to repeat it. But please stop talking about me and my husband disrespectfully. Checkmate. I loved it. And then Andy asked about the altercation between Michael and Chris Bassett. Chris and Michael both have been drinking is one thing. So while Chris talking about, I wouldn't have talked about it drunk, bruh, you were drunk. You overreacted just as much as Michael overreacted. The white privilege on this cast is so real because this woman has security for Chris Samuels. What about Michael Darby? What about Chris Bassett? Because they stay threatening to beat somebody's ass. It's just, we already talked about colorism. Now we diving into the white privilege on this cast. Because Michael Darby has grabbed one too many asses for me. And that's just keeping it real. I'm with Ashley though when they talk about disagreements and disrespect, and it's kind of what I alluded to before. Like, a man and a woman can have a disagreement and it doesn't have to be a disrespectful conversation. If he isn't yelling at her, berating her, calling her out of her name, at one point can a man and a woman who are not romantically involved disagree and have a conversation about it? Like, what's so wrong with that? I don't get it. It just don't make sense to me, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. And then Andy asked both the Chris's about their relationship, and they both agree that they wish it never happened and that everyone should own their part. And I thought it was interesting that when Chris Samuel said that, Chris Bassett said, I could agree, because that would mean that Candace needs to own her part in the fight. Bassett says he just wants his wife back, that she hasn't been herself. Then she needs to stay off social media. And that might help. That's the start. And then Ray comes off the cuff and he's like, he asks Robin, he tells Robin, I need to know when your wedding date will be because I have a 25th anniversary coming up and we're going to have another wedding. And I thought that was so sweet, and so did Karen. I love that her and Ray have come this far and they still together, but I was holding out for them. Ray and Karen ain't going nowhere, honey. And then Chris Samuels wants to compliment Monique about the strength that she had in dealing with these rumors. Look, Chris Samuels laid the drama on thick this reunion, okay? Well, I can't judge because I don't know what they put them through in their marriage, but he laid it on thick. Brother started crying and all, okay? Then he tells Giselle before he leaves, I forgive you and I release it because hurt people hurt people. Go get some help. That was almost as big of a dagger as the binder, child. And then we see the Chris's show each other love behind the scenes, and then Andy just goes down the panel and asks the women what they learned about themselves this season or whatever. I'm glad it's over, y'all. I love to see it. When them credits rolled, I couldn't be goddamn happier, okay? This has been a draining season of Housewives of Potomac. I hate, as I've said many times, that I hate that Candace and Monique find themselves at blows, but I'm glad it's over. So word on the street is that the contracts went out and everyone was asked back, but Monique said on the live tonight that she is not accepting her contract and she won't be back. She kept saying, I'm over it, and then when she put the camera on Chris, he was like, we out. I'm guessing that she's done. I hate to see it because I feel like that gives Giselle what she wanted. Giselle ain't want her on the show, no way. But then at the end of the day, if it's causing her this kind of stress and if it's ruining her brand the way that it is, then no coin is worth your peace of mind. None, especially when you got money. Anyway, you guys, that's it for Real Housewives of Potomac. This is my second series that I covered this year, and it might not be a big deal to others, but it's a big deal to me. If you like my recap, my vibe, my style, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.